NATO may have added its operations in Libya, but the Western presence is far from over, with big companies replacing the warplanes. The countries that bombed the oil-rich country are now getting lucrative contracts to rebuild it. RT's Laura Smith adds up the profits of war.
First, British bombs tore it apart. Now British companies will get paid to put it back together. Libya is open for business, and UK firms are being encouraged to join the gold rush.
Libya is a relatively wealthy country with oil reserves, and I expect that there will be opportunities for British and indeed other companies to get involved in the reconstruction of Libya.
Philip Hammond is urging CEOs and sales directors to pack their suitcases and head to the North African country. The UK's bill for its part in the NATO intervention in Libya is estimated at just under $500 million. But according to the UK Department of Trade and Investment, the value of contracts to rebuild Libya in areas ranging from electricity and water supplies to healthcare and education could amount to upwards of $300 billion over the next 10 years. And the British government will make sure it takes a leading role in that, just as it did in the war. And that's raising more questions about the UK's motives in playing such a big role in the recent conflict. John Hillary of War on Want says it has shades of post-war Iraq, when companies from countries involved in the Allied invasion were awarded all the best gigs.
We bomb, we destroy, and then we get the contracts to rebuild afterwards.
Journalist John Pilger says there was evidence of bartering before NATO even got involved.
The National Transitional Council told the French that if they sent in their aeroplanes, they would give Total 35% of the oil reserves. I mean, you know, there's so much evidence for what the thing really is.
The UK Department for Trade and Investment already has staff on the ground in Libya, ready to welcome British companies awarded contracts. Wanting to get in on the action are oil firms Shell and BP, whose shares rose on the news they were talking to the transitional government. Engineering firms Arup and Mott MacDonald are also reportedly keen. Both the latter refused to put up spokesmen when asked, preferring instead to send basic statements, which critics say is a new tactic to avoid defending their ethics.
It's better PR for them not to be involved in any form of public discussion of why they're doing what they're doing around the world.
So far, the conflict in Libya looks like an excellent investment. $500 million to oust a dictator, with a return of $300 billion in business contracts when it's all over. Now that humanitarian goals no longer need to be touted, war suddenly makes great business sense. Laura Smith, RT, London.